right, Bruce here. Good early morning on Declaration Day. I think a lot of us are excited. I got many funds to root for today, so hope you all do too. And thanks for all my new subscribers and welcome. I'm over 800 now. That probably sounds small to people who have 250,000 or something, but it's been a lot of fun and love all you guys. Thanks for all your comments. Keep it up. I'm just beginning to roll. All right, so somebody complained a whole bunch on my last YBIT that, oh, you're just talking about BITO. Well, and I was very nice in my comments, but I'm going to say this now. Please understand what these funds are about, right? It's called YBIT. What do you think it's based on, right? It only trades options synthetically to mimic going long BITO, and it only sells naked calls on BITO. So welcome to YBIT, aka BITO. YIELDMAX version. All right, let me get into it. Just kind of playing with that. All right, on 6-4. Now remember on this, I've got it in black and white. Again, somebody said, there you are talking about YBIT. Well, it matters, right? This, because of its $1.76 something distribution, I love when they do in 3 and 4 digits. I mean, YIELDMAX does it. It's just how scientific they show you, right? So, whoops, I didn't really want to do that. Let me go out of here to my tab. Okay, so that dropped, and yesterday we had this -411, but reality was it was going to open at 25.21 or 25.51. Got a little bit further down here, and instead it opened a little higher and closed at 26.16. So you could say, well, it's down 411, but unless I plug in a number that it really wasn't at, even though after hours when it declared it, it then dropped to that. All right, so we'll just move through. So that's why you see today they moved up further, 1.95%, and we were down 0.56. I mean, part of that's the trading of YBIT itself, right? We went from 21.42 to 21.30. And by the way, guys, I put something back here. I want to let you guys know because I was watching the open, and it's happened 2 days in a row. You know, I'm telling you guys that this is going to have a great payout. You know, based on all the numbers in IC, I wish I made the decision and it wasn't YIELDMAX, right? So they could counter everything I'm telling you, but I'm betting by buying shares. But honestly, my shares were all bought on Thursday and a couple days before that. I didn't add on Friday. I didn't, at least I don't remember adding on Friday. I definitely didn't add on Monday and didn't add on Tuesday. So what I saw, and this is to help you guys, I saw a lot, this thing scream up, right? You see the open, right? And here's where we closed, and I was watching this one, and I had watched this one the day before. Both days, it immediately, this day it only ran to like 22, okay? And then pulled back into 20 something, and then closed up 413. This, and some of you probably noticed, so some traders are trying to take advantage of this stuff. And I'm not talking about just you YIELDMAX buyers, right? It's just the opposite. Some real professional, you know, I won't use the word hackers. There's no hacking involved. But they're just trying to get retail FOMO and bid it up and have you guys chase it. So when you place your orders, please, please, please listen to this. Never use a market order. I hope none of my subscribers and my friends and people would dare in a thinly traded stock. If you want to go Microsoft with a market order and it's, you know, 312.04 by 312.05, a market order would be okay. Although I haven't used a market order in 25 years. I learned the hard way when I was really, you know, inexperienced. You put a market order in a thinly traded stock, and the market makers are going to scalp you. So that's what I was talking about, scalpers, when I almost said hackers. So people will buy it, and I don't want my subscribers and my audience, because I'm telling you it as a high yield, to make that mistake. So please, 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 only do, not GTC. Do a day or a GTC, but do it with a limit price, right? If you miss it, you miss it, because it ran to 24.52, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, maybe somebody thinks I'm just pumping it up, and I'm going in there, and as soon as I see it run up a couple of dollars, I'm selling 10,000 shares. Well, I can assure you, that's not my interest. That's not my game, okay? And nor could I really have that kind of influence when these funds get to it. If you do that in a TSLY or NVDY or probably even CONY, you're not going to have that effect. But when these are new, right, and you're talking about 750,000 shares, right? I said, please be careful with your buy orders on these thinly traded stocks. So again, somebody's going to go, can you just tell us what it did? No, I'm going to give you some education, because this can cost you big. So if this happened to you, I apologize, but that's what scalpers do out there, and they're going to get you in many places. So always, always, always use limit orders. Probably 95% of you all know that, but just in case somebody doesn't, right? Because that's what they do. They run it way up and then they dump it, right? And they go, well, I got 2 points out of that. I don't need to hang around for a dividend. All right. So anyway, I told you what happened to the numbers. Let's roll out. So there were 3 trades, right, yesterday. I show them sometimes, not all the time. So ironically, normally when you add, you do a buy, right, for calls on your synthetic, because it's out 621 at $36, and you do a buy. They just put a B for buy, but technically it's buy to open, and a sell short, right? So they buy the call and sell the put, and then they usually match the volume with a different weekly strike price. Well, what they did here was they did the opposite. They sold the call and they bought the put to close, okay? So they had made a bunch of money on this, but they had so many that are so far out, they decided to take some off the table. And then they also they also bought to close 95. They always try and match the amount of weekly calls, even though they're at various strikes, hopefully. So that's what happened. We'll come back to these because I have them in detail, right? I mean, we'll come back to them in the sense that I'll show them to you. Okay, so let's talk about the 95 first, the weekly calls. So 80 of them, right, we had already sold, I got to explain this to you better. One of these groups had more, it was this one. So this group had 1,270. So when the way you do this in accounting is I come over here and I say, okay, I reduce this to 1,270. They were all sold at this price, and none of the 1,270 except for 15 got bought. So I could have just put it here and added a column and move them down, but I just put it here. So here's the 15, took it away from here. They had sold for 43, same price, and then we bought it back at 30 cents, right? You see it here, buy to close, the last line. So we made some money, but we only captured, 33%, because we sold something, I just rounded to 45, and we bought it back at 30, so we bought back 2/3 of it. Small amount of contracts, right? So not a big deal. I don't really understand the play. I understand the play on the synthetic, but since they have to match, it's so minor here. And then on the other one, this was actually 80 calls that we sold, and we bought them back at 20 cents where we had sold them at 36. So again, we're making money, but we're not making all the money that we could have. And they actually, by the way, they added 25,000 shares, right? That's that activity. Now again, that was more like 30 to 40,000, but remember I taught all you guys that they do it in creation units. So they only show in increments of 25. So if it was 40,000 total volume, they're just going to show 25, and when we get another 5 or 10 or whatever the remainder of another 25, we'll show that. Okay, probably saying, why does he tell me that? Because somebody is going to come along and say, no, the volume yesterday was, XYZ, so I'm just prepping you for it. So we picked up a little more cash when we look at our accounting of all of our treasury and money market and cash, right? Now, ironically, they didn't sell any more calls. I actually think they wanted to sit on that cash for the distribution, even though they're going to earmark more. So let's take a look. I'll show you the synthetics in a second. So let's go look at that. Here's the 95, right? So we take it away with a minus, and this used to be 55.30. It's now 54.35, and I adjusted the new price, right? So we lost money here on this transaction, but overall, the day before we had 5,110,000 to the positive, right? Negative number, it means we collected it in the piggy bank. By buying these back, we had to pay a lot more for the put than the call. But you notice every other time up here when we put the play on, all we did was buy a really cheap call so far out of the money and sell an expensive put. So that's fine. They took them off. This didn't change everything a whole lot. We went from like $8.30 to $8.09 or something. This is still a liability, but it's shrinking. The fact that BITO is moving up is helping us. All right. So that's the plays from the trades. All right. So let's take a look at a weekly. So I just took the 80 away and I reduced this. It's easier over here on this. So how do we stand? Well, we're behind the 8 ball a little bit on our weeklies, right? Because YBIT is running up into that 27 and 27.50. Now remember, it opened, okay, Monday morning, essentially in the pre-market 25.51 because they announced on Friday after the market their declaration. They don't pay, ironically, until the day after us. Okay, we get paid this Friday, we declare today, they declared last Friday, they pay Monday on the 10th. Just FYI, some people own them both. Some people track and follow BITO, right? Or somebody's going to ask me. And in the case of its impact on us, it means the team at YIELDMAX has to mentally check that out on Friday, adjust their new positions, even the week before, knowing they're going to have a declaration and a payout. I'm not talking about a 5-cent, dividend that Microsoft announced. Nobody could give a crap about that's impact on a $200 or $300 stock. Okay, but on these, but YBIT, you have to look at YBIT's yield in the past because they've had a lot of low payments. It's probably only 24%, and we have a 68.31% IV, right, on BITOs. So which is what we base our fund on, right? So we're gonna see some higher payouts, and this may be it, right, for us. We may just hit the home run here. Fingers crossed. Okay, let's go into holdings. All right, so I've updated all of this. Now this one still is showing $1 difference. I really have, I've upped the share count. We moved up 3.5%, right? We went from 725 to 750. So I take how many, right, and that we moved up, and I divide it by the amount previously, the 725. So the math's all there. That isn't my issue. The issue is right here. This is saying fair value is like 2031 and we're overpriced. Usually these fall in line, but sometimes when they're new like this, and everything's updated. So we're behind. What's happened is this is the bulk of the contracts, the 4180, and we've got this number to the right, right? It was 5530, so it got shrunk by 95. Got rid of the 80, got 15 out of here. We are collected 38% of this because we had this on earlier, but our 27 is coming back to hurt us. Now, this may be fine, although Bitcoin is kind of running. This here in the pre-market, folks, we're setting, well, that's BITO. Yeah, that's what you care about. So look at this guy. This is the pre-market, right? It's 2693 by 2689 by 2693. Again, this is, 5 hours, right? So they already made their decision the previous Tuesday evening. They'll let us know around 8:30. And I'm going to do a video after they put it out, just real quick. So in case you missed it later in the day, you want to find it, and I'll do a very quick video, 5 to 10 minutes only on that. All right, so this is up. I mean, so what if we run by it? It's not going to impact this dividend at all. And we make it up on the synthetic what we lose on the weekly. So we got a little better. Look at our weekly, right? This, it had been 9 cents, so it fell down a little bit. But this, right, as BITO moved up, this got smaller, right? That was $10.18. So you've seen over the last 4 days, I updated these, right? This is 4.5 million loss, 4.6, 5.5, and now we're coming back, right? So this is the first date that we got impacted, right, by the fact that BITO dropped. Still closed at 26.16 for this value, but the reason it went down at all, right? So I think BITO, and BITO people, if you want to talk about NAV reduction, again, I'm talking about BITO, but they really have, I own some BITO, and I think I owned one at 31 and one at 28 or something. I've been getting nice dividends. I've been selling calls. I sold a 40 call when it was up almost 34 bucks, and I got like $2.50 out to June 21. So that could buy that back for 2.5 cents. I probably should, but I think it's pretty unlikely. But based on that lesson I told you guys, I really, but it's only one contract, right? I didn't sell all of my contracts and all of my shares. So anyway, that'll catch you up. So we're making money on this guy. We're 38 cents, right? This has a sell price, I think, of 38, something like that. So we're in the money on this one. We're behind, right? On this one, we sold it for 36, something like that. Let's look at our 27 strike price. 29, yeah, that's the problem. Okay, 29 and we're 42. So let's hope they get it, but honestly, we're doing really well. Okay, so I'm just going to jump to the page and talk about it. Remember my buy orders, peoples. Okay, so final time you'll see this before it declares. It's not going to change anybody's impact. And remember, if you want to buy this today, you can buy this today. Okay, all day long during regular trading hours, and you will get the dividend. Don't trust the aftermarket. Okay, I've never validated that the aftermarket will count still as 6.5. Okay, but 6.5 is declaration, 6.6 is ex-dividend. Okay, pay date is 6.7. You won't get it tomorrow in the pre-market, right? You won't get it tomorrow anytime, and you may not get it in the aftermarket. So please, buy it in the regular. If somebody successfully buys it in the aftermarket and tells me they get the dividend, then I'll make a note of it to trust it. But it's just too razor close. So we're at 21 cents, folks, is what we really earned in the important category. But this is still real money in the piggy bank. 809, right? That's down from a little bit higher number that we had here. Okay, but what counts is, this is my last, $2.8 to $3. I don't think they want to do a precedent with this guy at $3. Would love it. And realistically, this should easily pay 250 to 280. So I'm going with this range, and at the same time, even $2, I would be extremely pleased, right? The only funds, there's my right. NVDY, CONY's not going to pay 2. I'd be shocked if they did. It's just no way, but maybe they will, but it shouldn't. And just like this one, if they paid $1 on this one, I'd go, oh, come on. Nobody's going to buy that fund when they're making that kind of money and you pay $1. Otherwise, $1 on a $20 stocks is terrific. Okay, so that's what I got. I'm going to let you guys go again. This is Bruce signing out. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Okay, keep the comments coming. Let's all have fun on this declaration wherever you are. You know, if you're driving, you're doing something, I'll throw the video out and I'll start it with this is what YBIT paid. Okay, knowing that you guys, I'll give my 4 funds that well, GDXY is not going to pay this month. I'll give you the first 3 right off the top if you're driving and you're just listening, and then I'll go and read the others. Okay, see you guys. Bye.